Greetings, this is Tirra-Olufemi, your goddess guru, here to share a word of wisdom to assist you on your way, on your journey toward self-realization, knowing who you are. Do you know who you are? Do you really know who you are? Can you test it and prove beyond a shadow of a doubt that who you say you are really and truly is correct? Every time who you say you are proves itself to be correct. Um, we need to know who we are. When we know who we are, life is easier, and life doesn't toss us to and fro. So we also want to get firmly on our path to self-mastery. There's so many aspects of ourselves that we will realize, we'll get to know and understand. And then there comes a point, because, the human spirit really does develop. It develops. Just like we think about a baby. Initially, babies are born definitely with the ability to suck. That's how they are able to survive. They are able to nurse at their mother's breast and consume the milk and survive. So next thing you know, the baby is sitting up, and then the baby will roll over and crawl and then walk. And at some point, you'll start hearing a word here or there, and then more. And then you'll be able to see a baby who would run to the steps and just fall down the steps. Will now go to a set of steps and see, oh, wait a minute, I need to grab the rail and take my time going down these steps. It's just all this progression. We see all of this progression where our soul is the same way. Our true self is the same way. There's many different levels and aspects to it. And so all of us will be here with the express purpose of developing some aspect of ourselves. And usually the aspect that we need to develop it will appear to be the challenge. See, our talents and our gifts, those will be effortless for us to use. But our challenges, the difficulties in life, maybe there's a lesson, and this is the wisdom of our soul's way of assisting us with developing and getting to that next level. So don't cry about the problems in your life, because maybe what looks like a problem is actually yet another opportunity for you to master an aspect of yourself that you came here to learn about and master. So that's just a little something to segue us into some more of our New Year's reading for 2012. I first of all want to address our chakras. And this is just the perfect next thing for me to talk about in this video, because our chakras, which are energy centers in the body, when we think about chakras, they're in every spiritual system. We are energy beings. How many times am I going to say that? We're energetic beings. And so we have different energy centers in our bodies. And when we use the word chakra, that is actually out of the Indian traditions. But it's just the word that I'm using today. Chakra, chakra, or chakras. And so this year, the energy of Geb is what I pulled, as well as Yamonya. So when we talk about what energy center are we all needing to work on this year, primarily, because we want to keep all of our chakras, our energy centers, in balance, we want to work on chakra 1, our first chakra, which is our root chakra. Now, my godfather, guru, one of my gurus, Baba Colioso, did a reading for 2012 for our spiritual community. And one of the things that, or what came out of that reading, is that the energy governing us this year is the energy of Sheps, our ancestors. Now, I'm going to be very honest with you, and I've rewatched the video. I don't quite remember what I talked about when it comes to the ancestors, if anything, in the last video that I made for this 2012 reading. But we need to really connect with our ancestors this year. So when you think about the root chakra, we need to get back to our roots. We need to know who we are before we got here. Because so much of what went on with our ancestors is dictating what is going on with us today. This is one of the reasons it's so important for us to walk aware. Be more aware of what is going on. Question everything that's going on in your life. Are you doing what you do because you really feel this is the most genuine, authentic aspect of myself wants to do this? Are you doing it because mama and them, your mother, your father, your community, the way your guardian, for those who were raised by a guardian, this is the way they did it, so I do it that way. Your religion, your political views, where you live, what you wear, where you work, what education you got, your beliefs, are they really yours? Or are they based on something that was started long ago? So we want to really work on our root chakra issues, which has to do with our family of origin. So some of us were born into a family. Some of us were born and placed in a family. Some of us were born and raised in an orphanage, raised as a ward of the state. It does not matter how you started your life. The only thing we need to do is look at what occurred back then so that we can understand the things that benefit us, and we can continue to keep that in our psyche and our consciousness to assist us on our way to human, in our spiritual growth and development, our mental and emotional growth and development. And then the things that we picked up that we don't even know are there because we've believed this way for so long. We've had these experiences for so long, or it was so long ago that it happened, that it's so much a part of us, we don't know that we have beliefs that are truly false. We don't know that we have been taught to think in a manner that is wrong. I'm just going to say it's wrong thinking, stinking thinking. That maybe what I think and feel about the world is really more a product of programming than truth. So we need to really begin to this year look at foundationally, why am I the way that I am? If you are a person who experienced extreme conditions that were pretty negative, damaging, wounding, those are things that really need to be addressed. If you're the type of person that stays in survival mode, you constantly are, you're struggling to find your light money, your rent money, food, foundationally, I mean, just everything is just rocky when it comes to just basic needs. You really and truly need to consider what happened long ago and what shift needs to occur to move you into a place where you have more balance, where you understand truly There's an abundance in the universe. Because what happens is these issues, these situations, these experiences arise, and they put a box around our abundance, our ability to create and manifest and allow. See, that's the thing we want to do. We want to allow the abundance of the universe to come forth through us. So it puts a box on that. And so we just stay in survival mode. And when it comes to your relationships with family, look, let me tell you something. You get to choose who your family is once you're grown. Okay? So I know we come here expecting to have these wonderful relationships with our families of origins, our brothers, our sisters, mama, daddy, grandma, auntie, uncle, cousins. We do come here looking for that. We come here expecting it. It is in our, like I said, this is a year to really get in touch with our humanity. And part of our human programming is the desire to connect with family. But let me tell you this. At some point, you just got to admit to yourself when your family of origin is pure toxicity. Okay? If you are in a situation where your family is toxic, no matter how healthy you get, when you go back in there and deal with those people, it's terrible. You leave feeling awful. You don't feel supported. You feel torn down. Guess what? It's okay. You can put your family of origin in another box. We have degrees of separation. We get to choose who's right in there with us, and we get to choose who we're going to move. How far out? All depends on what I have decided is an appropriate space out for me. So, family issues will come up this year where we really need to accept this is what happened in my home when I was a child. Now, check this out. I have learned it doesn't matter what your socioeconomic status is. Rich or poor, family issues do not discriminate based on money. So some of you were raised in families where there was abundance. You never worried about what you were going to eat. As a matter of fact, you got to pick and choose effortlessly what you were going to eat. Your home was huge. Your family could take you and several friends on cruises every year, and you don't have those issues. I mean, when it comes to finances, you are set. But maybe your family lacked the love that you needed. There's a lot of people out there that were raised with very little money, but their home was full of love. So all of us need to take stock when it comes to this root chakra, because I've seen it. People with money with problems. I'm just going to be real with you all. I struggle with understanding what true abundance is because I was taught abundance is having all this money, this big house, a nice car. But then I've seen families with great abundance and nobody's happy. Why would I want that? I don't. But I'm learning that we can have both. We can have both. And if you come from a family that is toxic, that causes you to be less of who you are, if you come from a family where you can't be who you truly are, or your parent is a drunk, and no matter what you do, you can't make him or her happy, guess what? You get to choose where to place them in your life. We have primary relationships. We have secondary relationships. Primary initially is our family of origin. Secondary relationships are all the rest. Our peer groups, people we work with, people who are not blood. But what ends up happening is these are not static relationships. They're dynamic. So someone who is primary could be moved out to secondary and vice versa. You just have to learn to accept it's okay. If you have to move someone who is very significant in terms of who they are to you in your bloodline. Sister, brother, mother, father. You may have to move them out to a secondary position. But someone who's secondary could become primary. For instance, when people get married, the person they married, now that's a primary relationship. So people who are secondary can be moved into primary relationships. And that's a good thing. What we want to do is really look at the relationships that I was raised with. How are they causing me to relate to other people today? Am I having a good time with the people who are with me? And here's a good question. Are they having a good time with me? That's a good question. Because I might be having a great time dumping my crap on someone else. But maybe they're not enjoying that. So I need to look at, am I being a good friend? Am I being a good family member? I remember when I first got married, there were things that I saw in my home between my parents and daddy. If you're watching this, because mama is with the ancestors, so she don't really care. There's no disrespect. It's true. My parents used to argue so much that it didn't even faze us. We didn't even notice it, really. Unless it got really heated. I mean, like, I don't know. It looked like a fight would break out. Otherwise, all that yelling and screaming that would go back and forth between my parents, we never noticed it. I made it up in my mind. I was not going to live like that. I hated it. It was just, we had to turn the TV up and everything. So loud. So when I got married, I said, nah, I'm not living like that. But that was in me. So I married this man that comes from a family that I had to learn to be quiet. They were like, wow, she is so loud. Nice little calm family. The parents totally would get mad at each other. They are honest. They are a normal couple. But the kids didn't notice because they didn't argue back and forth with each other. So my husband, he wasn't into all that yard arguing and screaming and yelling and everything, and neither was I. I didn't think. Well, one day, I remember in the beginning of my marriage, we were talking about something and we weren't agreeing. And it seemed like his voice was getting a little high from my perspective. And so immediately I go in, he is not going to get me. I remember hearing these thoughts go in my mind, even though I wasn't aware. I just remember thinking, he is not going to yell at me. I'm not going to have him yell at me like my daddy yelled at my mama. Now, that mama yelled at daddy too. But anyway, I started, yeah. I was just like sounding off. And the crazy thing is we weren't even talking about anything. It was more of like a subject about opinions. And I remember him looking at me like, she is really crazy. And once I looked at him looking at me, I came present and aware. And I was like, why is he looking at me like that? So I paused for a minute and I replayed what happened in my mind before I started yelling like that. And I said, I was talking to my daddy and I made a decision. I would not allow myself to work out issues that I had with my parents, my father, my mother, with my husband. If I knew something was coming up, I would make the decision and just let them know I'm having a really hard time right now and it's not about you. I need to go over here to the timeout section and work on myself. So those are the kinds of things that I'm talking about when we are working on our first chakra. We need to look at our familial relationships from back then. Study your ancestors. And it's not just blood ancestors, but that's a good place to start to figure out why you do what you do today. In terms of your relationships, the way you deal with money, how you live. Don't you want to come out of the negativity? We all do. We don't have to live like that. 2012 is your year, baby, to have more of what you want. Okay? So one of the things that you can do is to learn more about how to balance your chakras. Some of it is just, baby, you need some therapy. Okay? But other things you can do Or you can look at different yogic postures that will help to ground you. And I should have meant to look up some of these for you before I started recording this. But anyway, if you look up some yogic postures that are good for grounding, I know one is mountain pose. Just stand tall. And you want to just elongate your spine and just stand. Standing postures will be really good. You want to get really and truly grounded within yourself. This is a year for grounding. And before we can have greater understanding of who we are, we've got to address our first chakra issues. Yemonya is the mother of fishes. Look, this is some made up stuff by me. I'm just going to tell you what comes to my mind. She's the mother of fishes. And when I think of the astrological sign Pisces, you know what? Yemonya, I'm almost positive. No. When I think of the astrological sign of Pisces, the fish, which is my sign, and I work with Yemonya, so I just have made up some stuff. Now, don't go quote none of this other than this is Tirra-Olufemi, okay? But fish govern the feet. So this is a year for us to really work on our feet because Yemonya is the mother. So she really has more to do with our reproductive organs when we really and truly think about or what is taught in the more traditional way. She governs the womb, and it's really important for us to make sure the things that we're gestating this year are things that we desire. So when we're talking about her, that's something that we want to think about. But when I thought about this first chakra issue, or this is a year to work on our first chakra, I thought about how I've also connected this energy with the feet. When we talk about our set, Isis, see, she is the seat of emotions. She is an energy that is really the foundation, the beginning of everything, because Isis or Aset is the energy that we talked about put all of the pieces together. She remembered all the pieces of Osiris or Osiris after he had been cut into 14 different pieces by his brother and sent out over all the earth. Now, Osiris represents that aspect of ourselves that is expansive. It's not just in the body, it's beyond the body. The part of you that is so expansive, there's no limit to it. The part that we really and truly need to remember while we're here in the body. We can operate from that expanded place within the body. Life is so wonderful in that position. And so, Osiris represents that part of ourselves. Well, our consciousness can get fractured. We just talked about what happens in our families and how it can really and truly create problems in how we understand who we are. And so Set represented the lower aspect of ourselves. And Set was a jealous brother and didn't want Osiris or Sarah to take back over the kingdom. And, Set kind of represents our lower animal nature, the ego that most of us operate from. We think we're just this body, this personality. And so when the ego gets into power, it doesn't want to let go. It'll do anything to keep us fractured and messed up. And so Set cut up Osiris, killed him, cut him up, and dispersed his body all over the earth. So Isis or Set, the sister, the wife, went out searching for all these different pieces along with her sister, and she remembered them. What are you remembering this year? What are you remembering? What is your foundation like? What are you remembering about your foundation? Get your feet worked on this year, okay? Symbolically, that's going to help you. So the memory this year is something that we really want to understand better. I like saying this, don't know who needs it. Repetition is the mother of skill. You want to get in your mind the things that you want to really master. Remember your body. We're talking this year about the earth, our body. This is a year about, really getting in touch with our humanity. With us also working with the energy of Aset, our body holds memories. Okay? So this is another reason why it's so important for us to nurture ourselves this year. Because as we love our bodies and begin to release that which we don't need and reprogram it, reattune it to the energy of love and nurturance. I just mentioned earlier talking about what are we gestating. Maybe we all need to go back into the womb and allow ourselves to be gestated so that we are reborn more of who and what we are this year. But what are you remembering? Because what you remember moment after moment, day after day, year after year, creates your reality. So that is yet another video to assist you on your way to self-realization in the year 2012. This is our year. No matter what predictions you've heard, whatever. Let's just deal with what we have, baby. Right now. Okay? I'm worried about tomorrow. Tomorrow never gets here. The past, well, I can learn from that. But I don't have to dwell on it for too long. All I need to do is really and truly maximize right now. So let's do that this year. And hopefully we'll talk more about chakras and energies in the bodies, and go get yourself a nice pedicure. All right? Thank you so much. If you would like a personal divination, just look at the box below this video and the link to my website where the video is located, or information for a divination is located, will be there. Thank you so much. Peace and happy 2012 to you and yours.